There are two more areas to cover under bankers' customer relationship. The first one is duties and responsibilities of customer. The next one is termination of customer-banker relationship. Duties and responsibilities of customer. The customer should have proper conduct of account. For example, he or she has to ensure sufficient funds in his or her account for check withdrawal. Any improper conduct could lead to account closure. Next, control of checkbooks. The customer is to safekeep the checkbook properly, not allowed to be abused by any party. Report of fraudulence. The customer is to exercise reasonable care to prevent fraud so that the bank may not be misled. Check was incomplete when signed. This could lead to fraud because another person could add the numbers and words to the check since the check is signed. It's like a blank check. So, customer owes a duty to the bank to take proper precaution to prevent such fraud. It will be considered as a breach of duty if the customer fails to do so. Termination of customer-bankers relationship. The bankers customer-bankers relationship can be terminated in various ways. We'll be looking at four common ways here. Closure account. Why do we need to pay special attention to account closure? This is because there could be outstanding checks, especially for business account. Incoming payment and gyro facilities. Even overdraft facilities might be involved. The account can be closed by mutual agreement or a unilateral decision either by the customer or banker. The account can be closed in two ways. By the customer, anytime. By the bankers have to give reasonable notice. Let's look at the customer. The account closure that's initiated by the customer can be closed at any point of time. The customer can demand return of any credit balance immediately. And the customer have to repay any overdraft outstanding, if there's any. It's prudent for the bank to invite the customer to make provision for the payment of any outstanding checks drawn. When the account is closed, bank will dishonor any check subsequently presented. the checks will be marked as account closed. In short, there will be, when checks is rejected, they will give a reason, and the reason will be account closed. Another prudent step is bank may take back all unused checks from the customer. This is a normal banking practice. The tellers will request for all the unused checks to be returned. Next one, I look at closure of account initiated by the banker. In this case, it's initiated by the banker, so the bank has to give a reasonable notice to the customer. Usually it could be a month for the customer to settle any outstanding issues or administrative issues. So this allows customer to make arrangement despite terminating the relationship. The bank is still bound to keep the customer affairs confidential. Next, we look at closure due to death of customer. Closure account due to death of customer. Under contract, the rights and liabilities are passed on to the deceased personal representatives. If there is any personal representatives by of the deceased, okay, he will basically handle the affairs. Okay, usually be family members. The other thing is the account single or joint account? Okay, if there's surviving partners, okay, surviving people, then we see what is it. Was there a will being made? So these are important considerations to look at. Next, we look at account closure due to mental disorder of customer. So when a customer is suffering from mental disorder, a medical officer has to ascertain the mental condition or fitness of the customer. Okay, so you have to be certified to prove that the customer is mentally disorder, has a mentally disorder issue. If the customer is well enough, he may continue to operate the account. However, if the customer is not well enough, the account is to be stopped, checks will be returned and marked insufficient mandate. Court order is required for a new account to be set up. Receiver or trustee is court appointed and witnessing is required. A customer's relatives is usually appointed as his receiver. Next, we look at account closure due to bankruptcy of customer. Once the bank knows of the bankruptcy of the customer, the banks will reject all checks and mark all the checks refer to drawer, regardless if there's any credit balance in the account. In this case, the joint account holders may be affected.